Welcome to class, students. If you can hear me, please raise your hands, students. If you can hear me, please raise your hands. Thank you, Sahar. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Elodie. And I'd like to welcome all of you to today's lesson. Alright, my name is Seth, and I will be your English teacher. Alright, today we're going to be talking about milestones. Alright, but before we get to the topic, I'd like to just tell you a bit about myself. As I said, my name is Seth, and I am all the way from Cape Town, South Africa, one of the most amazing cities in the world. Alright, so I'd like to hear from you, students. Alright, I'd like for you to introduce yourself to me. Tell me a bit about where you're from and what you do for a living. I'd like to first hear from Alexander. Thank you, Alexander.
Thank you, Seth. My name is Alexander. I'm living in Russia. I'm living near from Moscow, and I'm pleased to meet you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Alexander, all the way from Moscow in Russia. Wow, thank you so much for that. It is a pleasure to have you with me, and I do hope that you will enjoy today's lesson. Alright, Elodie, could you please introduce yourself to us? Thank you, Elodie. Alright, Elodie, if you can hear me, please raise your hand. I'd like for you to introduce yourself to us, Elodie. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Elodie. Sorry, I think I had a problem with my connection. Anyway, I'm 22 years old, and I'm come from France, and in this moment I'm in UK to learn English. I'm finished.
Alright, students, remember to please switch off your microphones when you're done speaking, alright, to avoid the echo within the classroom. Okay, thanks so much, Elodie, all the way from France. It's a pleasure to have you with us, and I do hope that you will enjoy today's lesson. Okay, and Sahar, could you please introduce yourself to us? Alright, thank you, Sahar. Fantastic, Sahar, all the way from Palestine. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming to class. I do hope that you will have fun in today's lesson. Alright, students, and I'd also like to welcome Fernando. Fernando, if you can hear me, Fernando, please raise your hand, Fernando. Alright, no words from Fernando. Well, as I said, alright, Fernando, yes, brilliant. Could you please introduce yourself to us, Fernando? Thank you.
Sure, teacher. Nice to meet you all. My name is Fernando. I'm from Brazil, and I'm a law student. I hope we have a nice class. Thank you all.
Fantastic, Fernando, all the way from Brazil. It's a pleasure to have you with us, and I do hope that you will enjoy today's lesson. Alright, Alexander, Elodie, Fernando, and Sahar. Today we're going to be talking about milestones. Okay, before I start today's lesson, students, I'd like to encourage all of you to participate and to speak openly and freely. Alright, do not feel shy, do not be nervous. We are all here to learn, alright, and I'm here to help you with your English. You know, everybody is going to make mistakes. It is part of learning a new language, which is why I am here to help you, alright, facilitate this lesson and help you improve on your areas where you may need some assistance. Okay, so let's get this show on the road, students. We're going to be talking about milestones. Okay, who can tell me what is a milestone? Please raise your hand if you can tell me what is a milestone, students. What is a milestone? Please raise your hands if you have any idea as to what a milestone is. Go ahead, Alexander. Thank you.
Milestones is key dates in our life, like birthday or wedding day, or birth of children, or maybe new changing your house. Thank you.
Well done to you, Alexander. Yep, you've basically summed up what a milestone is. just to give you a formal meaning, students, it's an important achievement or event in one's life. Okay, so as Alexander pointed out those brilliant examples, such as we can say some examples of milestones would be getting married, buying a home, and we can say also having your first child. Okay, right, students, those are all typical examples of what a milestone actually is. So it's just to recap, it's an important achievement or an event in one's life. Okay, so let's move on to the introduction slides. Okay, students, let's have a look. What would you talk about with someone you just met? Please raise your hands if you could give me some examples, students, on the things you would discuss with someone you've met for the very first time. Yes, Fernando.
So, teacher, I guess you can talk with someone you just met something like, hey, tell me more about your job. Do you have family? And common things like this. And let me see, where you live? What do you like to do? How you have fun? Things like that.
Excellent. Thanks so much for that, Fernando. Yes, typical examples of ways in which you can get to know someone better would be to ask those questions: where you from, what do you do for a living, and so on. Yes, brilliant. Thank you. Elodie, you had your hand raised. Did you have any other ideas as to what you would talk about with someone you just met for the first time?
I think Fernando gave all examples, so I have not other things. Sorry.
Perfectly fine. Thanks so much for that, Elodie. Alright, so students, those are typical examples as to what you can ask someone when you've met them for the first time. Thanks so much. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, we're gonna have a look, and it says name 3 important milestones in your life so far. So students, just by having a look at the very first picture, alright, for the very first picture, Sahar, yes, could you tell me what is happening in the first picture? Brilliant. So thank you so much for that, Sahar. So you did not graduate from university, but you did graduate from high school, and you have recognized that as an extremely important event in one's life. Fantastic, Sahar. Thanks so much. Alright, who can tell me what the next picture is? Alexander, could you tell me what is happening in this picture, and have you experienced this in your life so far? Thanks.
Okay, as a second picture is describing the birth of a new baby. I have 2 babies. Thank you.
Excellent. Fantastic, Alexander. So you have 2 babies. Alright, so how old are they, Alexander?
I have 2 daughters. Elder daughter is about 5 years old, and a small daughter is 1 year old. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So your daughters are still extremely young, both 5 and 1, and I'm sure that they must be a handful, Alexander. Thanks so much for that. Alright, I'd like to hear from Fernando. Fernando, what is happening in the last picture? And have you experienced this in your life so far? Thanks, Fernando.
Sure, teacher. In the last one, we can see a couple who just got married, and fortunately I don't got married yet because I'm very young. I'm just 20 years old, but we can see the couple are very happy, and this is good. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yes, in the last picture, the couple's getting married. Those are newlyweds. All right. So you can say a newly married couple, a newly married couple would be known as newlyweds. Okay, students. All right. They're known as newlyweds. All right. So yes. So thanks so much for that, Fernando. You said that you are too young to be married, and You still waiting for that to happen? Alright, brilliant, thanks so much. Alright, just to help you with your sentence there, instead of saying I don't got married, you just say I have not married yet. Okay? Just to help you with your grammar, but fantastic answer, Fernando. Thanks so much for that. Alright, students, let's have a look at the next slide. Alright? Let's have a look at some of the vocabulary on the slide, okay? It's the very first one. Says, have you experienced any of these milestones? Okay? Graduating from university. Sahar, you said that you graduated from high school. When did you finish high school, Sahar? Great, thanks so much. Alright, Sahar, so you said that you finished, when did you say you finished high school though? In what year, Sahar? When did you finish high school? In 2003. And, okay, excellent. Alright, and do you work, Sahar? Brilliant. So Sahar, thanks so much for sharing that with me. And just to help you with your grammar, just instead of saying I still at home, you simply say I am still at home. Okay, brilliant. Thanks so much for that, student, so far. Alright, I'd like to know from Elodie, have you ever when were you first hired at your first job? When did you first start your first job, Elodie? Thank you.
My first job was when I was 18 years old, and it was a good experience.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Elodie. And what did you do at your first job? What type of job was it?
I worked at McDonald's, so it was very fast, but it's a first experience, so it's good.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for that, Elodie. Alright, that was brilliant. So you said your first job was you said your first job was very fast. Just to help with that, you can simply say it was very busy at your first job. Is that what you meant to say, Elodie? Was it very busy at your first job? Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Alright, Elodie. Alright, and let me hear from Alexander. Alexander, are you married? And if so, when did you get married? Thank you, Alexander.
Yes, I have married in 2006. It's 6 years ago. Thank you.
The answer. Thanks so much for that, Alexander. So you said you got married 6 years ago. All right. Instead of saying it's 6 years ago, you can say it happened, or you can simply say I got married 6 years ago. Alright, fantastic. Thanks so much for that. Alright, students, let's move on to the next one here. It says, have you ever had a baby? Alright, I do know Alexander's got 2 beautiful daughters. I'd like to know from Elodie, have you ever had a baby? Do you have any children, Elodie?
No, I have not any children, but in this moment in UK, I'm looking for after children, and I hope one day I will have some children.
Great, thanks so much. So you don't have any children at the moment, but it is something that you're hoping to have later on in life. Great, thanks so much for that, Elodie. Tell me, Fernando, have you ever gotten promoted at a job? Have you ever been promoted at a job?
Yes, it's complicated, teacher, cause I got a pay raise, but I don't know if a pay raise is a promotion. I mean, I'm a lawyer's trainee, you know. So my boss says, "Hey, Fernando, you don't will need more go in the street looking for our prospects. You will stay inside the law firm, making asking for judges and doing important things, but I don't this don't happens yet, and I got a pay raise, but just it. Thank you.
Great. That is definitely, I mean, that could be a promotion of some sort because your pay is increasing, Fernando. That's great. Thanks so much for that. It's definitely a milestone when you're getting increase in pay. But just to help you, instead of saying pay raise, you can simply say I got a raise. A raise is always something that has to do with your earnings in a company. So just to help you with that phrase, let's say you can simply say I got a raise instead of saying I got a pay raise. Okay. Excellent, students. You're making fantastic progress. All right. And can anybody tell me, when do you hope to retire, Saha? And do you know what retired means? When somebody's retired, do you know what that means? Excellent. So you're not sure when you will retire, but your father retired several years ago, and now he's just relaxing and enjoying the rest of his life without work. All right. Thanks so much for that, Saha. All right, students. Have a look at the next point. It says, which of the defining moments do you look forward to? So we already heard from all of you, and Elodie did say that she's looking forward to having a baby in the not too distant future. But I'd like to hear from Alexander. Alexander, are you looking forward to retiring?
Yes, I hope to retire. It's a little term about 35 years only.
Thanks so much for that. So Alexander only says maybe in 45 years. Wow, that is a very long time to wait to retire. Thanks so much for that. And tell me, Elodie, when do you hope to retire?
When I will be 60 years old, maybe, if I'm lucky. When I can, I'm retiring. So, yeah.
Yes, Elodie, I agree with you. I'd like to maybe be 50 and retire from working and just live in a lap of luxury. I'd love to do that as well. Thanks for that, Elodie. And tell me, Fernando, lastly you, when would you like to retire?
Definitely never. Retiring is so boring. So, and I hope retiring me when I will be very old, and I won't be able to work anymore. So unless I got invalid or something, I intend work until I can. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Fernando. So you say it's going to be boring for you if you were to retire. So you want to work for the rest of your life. Wow. That is quite a long time to work. Hey, Fernando, that is quite a long time to work. Alright, well, thanks so much for that, students. Let's move on to the next part of today's lesson. We're going to have a look at some practice. It says, listen to three people talk about their defining moments. What words do you use to describe them? Alright, let's have a look at the list, alright? It says here preparation, alright? Let's have a look. Who can tell me, list three things or three people to talk about the defining moments? Or like, what words do they use to describe them? Who would like to give me some examples on this slide, students? Alexander, would you like to give me an example?
Verbs is preparate maybe, and prepare, yes, and adjectives is preparing, prepared. Thank you.
Fantastic, yeah. Brilliant job by Alexander, well done to you. Yes, so preparation, the verb would be to prepare, and the adjective would be prepared. Fantastic. Thanks so much for that, alright? Let's move on to the next adjective. It says independent. Fernando, what word would you use there? What verb and what noun do you think you can put in there? Thank you.
Okay, teacher. I think a noun for this word can be independence, maybe. Independence, a noun. And I think there is not a verb for this word. Thank you.
Beautiful. Excellent, Fernando. There's no verb for independence. It simply can be translated from a noun into an adjective in its simplest form. Brilliant. Thanks so much for that, Fernando. Could anybody tell me the next verb? To accomplish. What would the noun be of the verb accomplish and the adjective? Alexander, yes.
The noun is accomplishment and adjectives accomplished.
Excellent, fantastic. Alright, and let's move on to the next noun, alright? Elodie, you had your hand raised. Would you like to try this noun? Achievement. What would the verb be of achievement?
There are maybe no verbs for this. Achievemented, maybe for adjective.
A great attempt. Thanks so much for that, Elodie. Alright, just to help you with the verb. The noun would be achievement. The verb would be to achieve. Alright, so I can say Elodie achieved great marks at in today's lesson. Alright, and the adjective would then be to it's achievable. Anything in life is achievable if you believe. Alright, thanks so much for that, Elodie. Alright, let's move on to the last the second last noun, success. Sahar, could you try and tell me what would be the verb form of the word success? Thank you, Sahar. Brilliant, thanks so much, Sahar. Great job. Alright, and lastly, I'd like to ask the last one. Students, who can tell me what would be the noun and the verb form of the adjective significant? Okay, I will definitely try and help you, alright, with this. If anybody would like to give me the answer, raise your hands. Students, if you can tell me, what is the noun form of the adjective significant? It's not difficult at all, Sahar, alright? Let me try and help you with this, alright? The noun would be significance, alright? Tell me the significance of today's lesson, alright? What does it signify? When something signify, to signify. Alright, so just to help you, alright, remember this one, students, when something is to signify. Alright, keep that one in mind, okay? To signify. Alright, so I will give you the meaning of the word to signify, okay? Signify, alright? To signify, it simply means when to make known, alright, or to sign a word with meaning, alright? When something means something to you, means something signifies something. So to signify means to make known as with a sign or a word. So to signify, I can say this ring signifies my love for you. If you're getting married, you can say, example, this ring signifies my love for you. Okay, so signifies means something, you're giving something meaning, you're giving something that's very important, giving it a meaning. Okay, so I can say this lesson signifies your progress in English, or this lesson signifies the level of English that you can speak. Students, if is that a bit clear for you, Elodie and Sahar? Is it making sense? Brilliant, excellent. Okay, all right, excellent. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, we're at the final task for today, students. All right, so I'm going to put you in pairs. All right, and I'm going to ask student A, tell student B about one of the significant milestones in your life so far. Student B, tell student A how your own defining moments are the same or different. Alright, so let's just have a look at the example, student. It says, my biggest accomplishment was buying my own house. Wow, I've never bought a house before. My most significant milestone is when my first child was born. Alright, so if I can ask Alex and Elodie to do the first role play. Alexander, you are student A, and Elodie, you are student B. Alright, students, have fun with the role play. I'm sure that with the list of vocabulary that you learned today, and I'm sure you'll have no problem with this role play. So Alexander and Elodie, take it away. Have fun, students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Elodie, next week I want to buy a new car, and today and now it's a very significant milestone for me. How about you?
Oh, lucky because I'm not my license driving for this moment, so it's not I've not that for accomplishment, but my biggest accomplishment I think it was living in other country and um, from away my house.
What significant milestones are significant for you?
Pardon, I didn't hear you.
Um, Elodie, what milestones now are significant for you?
Oh, okay, sorry. Um, but it's a good experience because I can look how living the other people and learn English. It's very good experience either, and it's necessary for my future, for my job, because in France everybody asks if you speak English.
Thank you.
Fantastic role play by Alexander and Elodie. I'd like to give you both a round of applause for participating so brilliantly in the role play and for expressing yourselves and engaging in the conversation using the examples and using your own sort of understanding as well, just to make things a bit different. Fantastic, brilliant students, thank you. Alright, Fernando and Sahar. Fernando, you can be student A. Sahar, you can be student B. Thank you so much. You may now begin the role play, students. Thank you.
Okay. Very significant milestone in my life was when I started at the college. Was very awesome, and I got new friends and a new lifestyle, a lot of parties. I earned my first car. My dad gave me one, and was very good because I was accustomed with high school, and high school is so boring. You can't have fun, and uh, when I started at the college was very good. Oh, a house is good. Are you married, Sahar? Oh, that's good. So you don't need spend a lot of money to buy a new house, cause if you will live alone, you can buy a more cheap one. It's a kind of good. What do you think? Okay, thank you, Sahar. We are done, teacher.
Fantastic role play by Fernando and Zahar. Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, students. I really thoroughly enjoyed interacting with you in today's lesson. I had fun with all of you. All of you expressed yourselves extremely well in today's lesson. You all grasped the topic, you all spoke eloquently. I think that you had no problems in expressing yourself with English in today's lesson about milestones, and I'd like to all congratulate you on the progress that you're making so far, students. You're all exceptional. Alright, I'm just going to we have unfortunately run out of time for today's lesson, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the summary slide. Okay, so today we talked about life's milestones, compared different forms of vocabulary words, describes our defining moments. Alright, so students, as I said, thank you so much for participating in today's lesson. I'm going to release the slides to you. I'm going to ask you to please practice all the words that you learned today. Remember, the more you practice, the easier it will be for you to express yourselves in English. Okay, What I'm going to do is as well, 5 minutes after the lesson has 5 minutes after I'm done with the lesson, I am going to release your gradings. Now in your grading, students, I'm going to suggest as to where your areas of improvement lies. Okay, so I will tell you as to what you can do to improve your grammar, because most of you speak extremely well, but there's just a bit of gaps with your grammar. Okay, so what I've done is I've just noted those down, and I have attached that into your grading, so you'll know what areas that you need to improve on, okay, and what you need to work on. Okay, but all of you are making fantastic progress. Thanks so much for coming to today's lesson. Just to encourage all of you to speak English as often as possible. Remember, these classes are an excellent way to meet people and to practice your English online. Okay, I encourage you to stay behind after the lesson is done, alright, just to chat to one another and to practice your English. Okay, also I'm also going to encourage you to please read more English novels. Okay, and when you read these English novels, students, please read them out loud, just to help you with your pronunciation, your vocabulary, okay, and your spelling. It will definitely help you with just to improve your grammar overall. Okay, also watch as many English movies as possible and listen to English radio stations. Those will certainly assist you and help you progress with English. Okay, but all of you, I'd like to give you all again, once again, a round of applause for being such brilliant and exceptional students in today's lesson. I had fun, I had a great time. Okay, and if there's any other questions, now's the time to raise your hand, students, just to ask me if you have any questions. If not, I'm going to wish you a lovely day further and a most beautiful weekend. Okay, thank you so much for coming to today's lesson. I really do hope I will see you all again. Alexander, Elodie, Fernando and Sahar, thank you so much. Alright, from me, Seth, in Cape Town, it's been awesome. Thank you. Bye bye.